Great. Okay, so a quick agenda of what we'll go over. We don't have a ton of time, so it's just kind of a succinct little webinar that we'll go through. I'll give an overview of CodeHS if you're new to CodeHS. I'll break down one of our courses so you can see how it can, just kind of how a lot of our courses are structured. And then I'll go into some interdisciplinary projects, and then also introduce our hour of code, and then kind of wrap it up. So if you don't have an account, you can sign up for one at codehs.com/signup. It's definitely good to have a teacher account. You'll be able to see a lot of the teacher resources that we'll go through today and add them to your class and experiment with them. So I encourage you to sign up for a free teacher account. And in general, if you are new to CodeHS, we're meant to be a one-stop shop for teachers. We offer browser-based curriculum, so you don't need to install any other software to write or run code on CodeHS. We have a lot of people who their classrooms use Chromebooks or iPads, and that's just fine. We also offer a full LMS, so rostering, grading, and feedback can happen all in one place. We try to be a one-stop shop solution for any school or district or teacher running a CS classroom. We offer a bunch of curriculum, certifications, and online IDE where students can write and run their code. We offer professional development, and we also offer CodeHS Pro, which is a suite of teacher tools and resources like lesson plans, a grade book, tons of tools to manage your class with CodeHS Pro. Our mission here at CodeHS is to empower all students to meaningfully impact the future. We believe that coding is an essential 21st century skill, and our motto here is read, write, code, because we think just like reading, writing, and arithmetic are foundational skills that you need to be successful. In an increasingly technological world, our students also need a baseline understanding of coding and computer science to prepare them for the future. So we want to teach coding to all students so they can speak this language of the future. And I think in particular with integrating it across subjects, the goal is to kind of make it not this isolated thing that they learn and then never use again. I think the point is to show and expose students to this thing that can be integrated into their other interests. Like every field out there that they might be into, coding would be a benefit for them. And that's kind of what our goal is here. So we do offer a ton of computer science courses. These allow schools and districts to build a full CS pathway, grades 6 through 12. We also have launched elementary curriculum this year. We have a lot of our courses are beginner friendly. There are some that are more intermediate and some that are advanced, but a lot of them are designed for brand new students to computer science, brand new coders. We also host all the way up through AP and post-AP courses, and then a bunch of special interest courses like mobile apps, virtual reality, cybersecurity. And then we have a suite of interdisciplinary courses that show how coding can be applied in music, sports, art, math, health, finance, all kinds of topics. All of our curriculum is available for free. So if you're new to CodeHS, we do have a pro plan with a lot of the advanced features, but all of the curriculum, your students will be able to work through the whole year, for free. We don't shut off access or anything like that at any point. A lot of the stuff that we'll be taking a look at today is for free because all of our curriculum is available for free. We have a suggested pathway for middle school and high school. We offer a fully customizable curriculum. All of the courses in the 612 pathway are aligned to and support the CSCA standards and the K-12 CS framework. And then just a note about our AP courses, they are fully endorsed by College Board. So all the syllabi, lesson plans, and teacher resources are pre-approved by College Board. And then you'll see on the next slide, I'm going to do a breakout of our computing ideas course, which we recommend for middle school or early high school. So this is designed as kind of a survey course, and it can be used as a full year. You can run it as a full year, but this is an example of a course at CodeHS that is designed to be really modular. So I wanted to highlight this. So here's an example breakdown. If you're looking for exposure to beginning computer scientists, then Computing Ideas is definitely the course for you. It's great because it's made up of self-contained modules. So each of these gives an overview of a particular topic, and they don't build on each other. So you can assign just the web design module to have your students complete, a month of web design, build a project at the end that they can showcase, and then move on. Or you can have them complete the whole year, or you can have them complete, a quarter of Intro to Programming. You can assign individual lessons. This is an example of a course that is kind of pick and choose, and especially our middle school curriculum tends to be broken up that way. But a lot of our courses are, they do contain modules that can be standalone courses, which I think for interdisciplinary applications, since you can move them around and teach them in any order, going over digital citizenship and cyber hygiene, something like that is something that would be applicable to basically students of all ages. They can't get enough of that. So I think just knowing that a lot of our courses are able to be broken up and assigned in a kind of this modular way where you can mix and match the curriculum. And then here's a glance at our interdisciplinary courses. When you think about why would you want to integrate coding, it's really so that students can start connecting computer science to the world around them. And it's also when we think as a computer science organization, we still think that even students who don't opt in to taking CS courses, but we still think it's important for them to be exposed to it. So even if your school doesn't have a CS pathway yet, it's still good to expose students to computer science so that when they do see it or when they are offered it, they know they can think back to this time where they're like, oh yeah, I did that and that was fun or approachable, and I think when a lot of times people who are completely unfamiliar with computer science might hear it and say, I can't, they just like shut down and they think, or that's not for me, that's for someone else, that's not for someone like me, I'm not smart enough, but if you expose them to these things that are related to what they're doing in another subject, or even something related to what they're doing in their, personal hobbies, that can just be a huge way to grab them, expose them to computer science, engage them in what they're interested in and subjects that they already know they're good at, and introduce them to something that they might not have known that they were also interested in. So our interdisciplinary courses tend to be also in the same way, they're really modular. They can be standalone courses and they can range from 1 hour. We will look at some of the hour code activities, or they can range to a few weeks in length as well. So we've got coding explorations in sports, in art, music, math, and science. And we'll take a look at each of these as well. So on this side, if you haven't had a chance to check out our course catalog, it's just about the coolest page on CodeHS. It has the access to our entire curriculum, which again is all available for free. You can search for any course that you want up here. And I wanted to draw attention to this interdisciplinary button, which will filter everything by things that are interdisciplinary. So when you do that, you'll see this digital art with P5JS, and that's obviously integrated with art, and it'll tell you everything that you would need for what level it's appropriate at. And if it's middle school and high school, that might mean something like you might have to adjust the time frame to make it fit for either one, or there might be an option to add blocks, which you might add blocks for middle school, but not for high school, things like that. But all of the courses will have a syllabus. And when you view the syllabus, you'll see the total amount of time the course is designed for, some goals, some objectives, any prereqs that there might be, and then a breakdown of each module and how long each module should take. So, anticipating spending a week with the first module, and all of the objectives that are covered, all of the example assignments and the labs, and then the second module, animation, 1 or 2 weeks, depending on your students, and just the same thing, any of the objectives, the assignments, the labs. So all of our courses will have the same syllabus with the same layout. Even the shorter courses will also still have that syllabus. So you'll also see we have coding and science and coding and math. And if you wanted to, if you have a CodeHS account and if you see this enroll button, what that will do is enroll you in this course as a student, so you can preview it. So if I click enroll, it'll change to the view button and let me know that I'm enrolled in this course, and I can click it to view my student page. So I opened it in a new tab up here, and I can see this is exactly what my students would see as they're working through it. So you can see this coding and science course. They are self-contained modules. They don't really build on each other, and they would relate to different topics in science. There's gravity, a Punnett square generator for more biology, exploring collisions for physics integration, bouncing ball simulation for another physics exploration. So that's what you can expect for these types of courses. And if you ever wanted to preview them, that is definitely the best way to check it out. That I always recommend is enroll yourself in the course as a student. And if you're ever looking at something and it doesn't look quite right, you do want to make sure that you're in your student or teacher view. I have a few extra options here, but you'll probably just have teacher and student. So your teacher view will have all of your sections, but if you want to look at the courses you are interested in taking, then you'll switch to your student view, and then you can say, oh yeah, coding explorations and art, and that'll take you to your student page. Another thing to note about getting to the course catalog to check out any of these courses is we do have a button right here on the left from your teacher page. So you can get to that same link anytime from this left-hand sidebar. So coming back to why we would integrate coding, yeah, it helps students connect CS to the world around them. And again, you know, thinking about CS being for everybody, not just people who think they might be good at it, you know, and I think the idea is just to expose them. And then you can also build support for CS by involving other school stakeholders. If you work with other teachers on it and get more people involved and more people familiar with it, that can really go a long way to building a kind of more robust CS pathway and culture of computer science at your school. And as far as models for integrating projects, you can run a project in your non-CS class. So if you are teaching an English class, you can run a kind of, you know, you can assign the web design module and run, you know, run through that for a month or so, and then have, I'll show some other ways to use the web design, but if you don't have a CS class, if you have a math or science class, or if, an English or history class, there's a lot of ways to integrate running a CS project where they're still learning coding skills, but they're also, you know, maybe they're preparing a book report or a research project, but also putting it onto a website format. So there's a lot of ways that you can use coding while they're still doing their, you know, a different subject, a non-CS subject, but they're also learning coding skills. If you are a CS teacher, you can provide guidance and support to a colleague. I think a lot of times, you know, if teachers are unfamiliar with computer science, in my experience, it's been something that people are just very intimidated by until they get exposed to it. And then they're like, oh, this actually isn't so bad. This is something that I can do. So I think if you are at your school, someone who is either a CS teacher or just, you know, is interested in and is not intimidated by it, you can kind of share that with your colleagues to just increase people's comfort level with it. You can co-teach with a different department. And one thing that I think could be a really cool idea is hosting a workshop or competition or hackathon type project at your school. And we'll take a look at some Hour of Code activities that would be perfect for this type of thing. But this is a way to get students who, whether or not they're enrolled in a CS class, they can all participate in a workshop or an activity at the same time. It can be a competition, or it can just be everyone's working on this, you know, on this day kind of thing. And it's okay to start small too. It's okay to start small. So we'll take a look at some of these interdisciplinary courses, just so you can see one of our recent additions. This is our Coding and Gravity course. So students would learn about the gravitational force. explore the role a simulation can play in this process and help develop their own gravity simulation. So in doing so, they will learn a few basic concepts of programming with JavaScript while also investigating, the gravitational pull between the two planets. So this is what you see on the screen is an example of the program that they would help build, which simulates how planets interact with each other in outer space. On the right, students increase the mass of the orange planet from the top to the bottom, and then can see how the interaction changes through the force data that they print out. And then they would, synthesize their observations into a summary about which variables affect the gravitational force. So they're practicing anything that they're learning in physics. And this, again, can be for middle school or high school, depending on how much time you set for it and where they're at in their science course. And they would synthesize things that they've learned in physics, like Newton's first and second laws and some scientific testing, and then also build printing variables, functions, and graphics. So, either learning these for the first time or kind of using what they know and applying it to another subject or another interest of theirs. That's the goal here. Same thing with, here's another example that uses the Pythagorean theorem. This would be for middle school, 4 to 6 hours. And you can see they would use concepts like area, perimeter, Pythagorean theorem from math, and combine that with printing, arithmetic, and they can see how programming, arithmetic and programming is similar, but can be slightly different. So they'll learn about that computer science, and then also, the use of variables and user input, which is something they might, variables in particular, they might use that in science. They might know that word in science, and connecting that to like, how is a variable in computer science different than how they might use a variable in biology or some other kind of science class. This one's one of my favorites. So this is an example of coding in music using blocks. So this could be for middle school or high school, and it can run from 11 to 15 hours, depending. And the music things they would practice, might be are tempo, measures, notes, and chords, experimenting with different instruments. And then the CS concepts they would practice are program structure, visualization, loops. You'll see on the left picture here is an example of it is a drag and drop block where they will learn about measures and repeating things 4 times, using for loops. So they're learning the CS concepts. They're also making these really interactive beats. Joni dropped it in the chat. I don't know if I set my screen up to share audio, but if you press play, you'll see that those are the types of programs they'll be able to create, and students go wild with this. They love it, and I think this is one of those things in terms of, if you wanted to run a workshop or make this kind of an event, if you make kind of like either a beat showcase or a beat competition, spend a week making music, spend a week kind of learning this stuff, and the whole time they're learning coding, they're not even, it's something that's like they walk away with this with hard computer science skills, and also they're having a ton of fun, and they learn and they've made their own beats, and they can get really competitive with it. Super good way to engage students. That doesn't necessarily have to take place all in a CS class, because this could be in certainly a music class, and then any class where they have the freedom to implement any activity like this. And then just to highlight as well, so all students on CodeHS have the ability to create their own websites. So once they sign up for an account, they can make their own homepage, and they can set their username. So here's an example with Carol. So this is carol.codehs.me. This is Carol's homepage. Carol is, if you haven't done the JavaScript course, Carol is kind of our mascot here at CodeHS. And Carol made her own homepage here. So, you'll look at it, and it's not like very dynamic or advanced or anything like that, but this is a type of website that a student could make after maybe 3 or 4 weeks of practicing web design, maybe even less, depending on their age and whether or not they're using blocks. So you'll see, they can have text with different color formatting, they can have images, they can have links to other things, and they can put all this information here. And this is with just not very much web design experience, and they can hand code a website like this share it with the world. So they have this URL up here, and it can be, student name, they can make up their name, they can add everything like that. And I just think like having a website out there, they can show their parents, you can have a school showcase, you can make a night of it, is something that's very, it just feels very good when the student gets to that point where they can just put this page out there. And that's something that all students have available for free on CodeHS. And again, this is when thinking about integrating coding with things that aren't like math or science, which are the most obvious, linked subjects. But this could easily be something like a book report, a historical event website. You can have links to different pages that different students work on, a research project. If they have a business class, they can make a website for a business in their area or a business idea that they have. So I think there's just a lot of stuff you can do with the homepage and just a little bit of web design coding practice. I wanted to also share this Coding with the Wild blog that our team puts out. So this is codinginthewild.com, and this has a ton of articles about coding in different industries. So I mean, there's so much stuff on here. Like if you had your students scroll through here and find, if you have some kind of career day or something, and if you have that, or if they just know like, oh, I'm interested in nursing, or I'm interested in this or that, pretty much any career track that they would be into. I think there was a baseball one on here, coding for Major League Baseball, and you can have them read this article about a real life student or programmer who is, using coding in their sports analytics career. So I think using stuff like this to get students engaged can be super powerful. And again, across different subjects, relating it to something that's beyond their CS classroom, I think is a huge thing. And that will bring to the last section. I wanted to run through our hour of code because I think this is just such a fun and easy way to get started, whether or not you have CS at your school, again, and this can be something that you share out with your colleagues and encourage them to do in their class. Like just take an hour that we have CS Ed Week. I'll start here. So the Hour of Code is a nationwide initiative to introduce millions of students to 1 hour of computer science and computer programming. And it's every year in December is CS Ed Week, where classrooms all over the country, all over the world participate in Hour of Code. The goal is to have fun. The goal is to get students excited about CS, and then also to encourage them to sign up for CS courses if they offer them at their school, or at least just put it in their brains that this is something that we can do. So we offer a good deal of Hour of Code offerings. So if you just go to the link Joni put in the chat, you'll see all of our Hour of Code. So we offer a lot that are just for beginners. You'll see here, there's coding in music, art, and sports. So that the coding in music is one similar to what we saw earlier, where they would make a beat, and at the end of the hour, they would have their own beat, and they could continue on if they wanted to. Coding in sports, they would make a game basically with building blocks in JavaScript, and at the end of it, they would have a soccer game that they created, and they can share with their friends and things like that. We've also got some programming with Carol, some web design, digital art with Pixels, turtle graphics with Tracy, and also an Hour of Code in Spanish. It's our Carol course in Spanish. And we also have some that are more appropriate for high school. So they're still beginner level, but maybe for an older student, coding in Python, the Bitcoin, exploring the Bitcoin ledger with cryptocurrency. So that's something where if they've heard about crypto, and if you know the finance teacher at your school, if there's a finance or business department, this could be a great one to explore as an hour of code in their class on a Friday or something. It's just a great way to get students exposed. Then there's also some intermediate courses. So these ones you just want to watch out when you're on the page. If you know you're going to work with beginners, or if you're advising students to just go there and pick one, that they should be picking one that's appropriate to their coding level. And we also offer a bunch of interdisciplinary ones as well. So we have similar coding in math, exploring blockchain, triangles, collisions, and the Punnett square generator have all been adapted for hour of code activities as well. So they can, within 1 hour, integrate these concepts. And we have some unplugged offerings as well on Hour of Code. So that can be a good way, especially for middle school, but even high school, just exploring them and knowing what's best for your students, where they can learn these CS concepts, but offline. So they don't need a computer for it. And that can also just be a really good way to approach computer science, and still learn the concepts so that when they are approached with it later on, they'll have had some practice. So again, here's just the Hour of Code link that you can explore. And I'll show this too, because this is coming up in December. So if you wanted to take a look at these now, and from your this is from your teacher point of view, and you can check out the lesson plan for any of them, and it'll just show you some prep tips. It'll show you the solutions and some discussion questions that you can help frame your class and things like that. So all of the Hour of Code activities will have the lesson plans for them. And then you can assign it if you have a class on CodeHS. But if you don't, or if you are promoting this to teachers who are not CS teachers, you can just have them start. So if you are a student or someone who doesn't have an account on CodeHS, it'll just say start course, and they don't have to create accounts. They can just start it for the students. So that's something important to know too about Hour of Code. If you're just interested in kids doing an hour of code, and they could just go to codehs.com/hour of code and pick one and start it, and they don't even need to create an account. So just about wrapping up here, we've got some resources to plug the CodeHS curriculum catalog again. And again, you can get to that on your sidebar as well. And then Coding in the Wild is a great resource for real world connections. And then we've also got some other ways to get in touch. So if you need any support as you're getting set up with CodeHS, you can visit codehs.com/support, or you can also look for this blue bubble in your right-hand corner that gets you in touch with our support team. So if you have any questions about what you saw here today, or as you're exploring the site and you want to get set up, definitely utilize this. Our team is awesome. They'll get back to you and you'll be good to go. If you are interested in bringing CodeHS Pro to your school or district, head to codehs.com/learn-more. It's a form that you can fill out, tell us about your needs, and our team will get in touch with you. And we also have some more ways to get involved. You can become a CodeHS certified educator. You can join our CodeHS educators Facebook group. It's really active, lots of teachers asking questions and helping each other. We have a couple more webinars for the season, and we're always adding more. And then you can always follow us on social media as well. So that is it. I can be here if there's any questions. I can hang out for another minute, but otherwise we are all set. Thanks for coming.